Welcome, everybody. Today is December 9th, 2021. We're nearing the holidays and wrapping up the sessions. I think we're about 70 sessions solid since we started in May of 2020. And we continue to have people show up each week, so it's always exciting. Today, we're talking about the IC topic chats for 7 ways to think and act like a rainmaker. This is straight out of a book that several people have recommended to me. I put Corey Newhouse in the description that I put out to the email to everybody, but it's called How Clients Buy. It's by Tom McMacken and Doug Fletcher. I love this name, McMacken, by the way. That's my mother's maiden name. It is actually her legal name now, but it's not spelled the same. It's got a CKIN, but anyway, that name is near and dear to me. Just as a reminder, or maybe as a informational, rainmakers, so we're talking about rainmaking, people who kind of generate income for business or organization by brokering deals or attracting clients or funds. That's the definition I found, I think, from Investopedia. But I mean, a rainmaker technically would be somebody who prays to make it rain, literally from the sky. And so this is, I don't know the whole history of the term, but I guess the general idea is by bringing this person in, they have that understanding and appreciation for how to generate business that keeps a business afloat, a consulting practice afloat. And in case you're interested, here's the book, How Clients Buy. It's a great read. I said it also that I wanted to go through this whole thing. And this is one of those books that I read on a recommendation from several others. I think Gumani Lundquist also recommended this to me. And frankly, I love hearing about these. If you have any suggestions for these, and even if you're interested, I want you to reach out to me and say, I'd like to do a book review. We'll find a spot for you on the IC Topic Chats. If you got a book that's relevant for all of us, you may want, we'd be happy to let you review it. I've done several book reviews. In fact, I schedule out the IC Topic Chats with the idea that we will have the first session of the month is one where we do core topics. The fourth session of the month is a panel whenever I can. But then on those months where we have 5 sessions in a month, the fifth I have it scheduled that we try and do a book review. So there's a couple a year that we have 5 Thursdays in a month. So if you want to do a book review, let me know. This would be a great one if somebody wants to do it. Just kind of go through what the book's all about. Anyway, so we're talking about chapter, I think 17. Is that what it is? Yeah. Chapter 17, in case you're interested in reading the book, it's on page 212. And so it's called Getting to Work. And it's really taking all the principles in the book and kind of putting it in place and thinking about it. But I thought this is just a fantastic way to do a IC topic chat where we talk for about 15 to 20 minutes and then in a presentation form, and then we talk broadly. But getting into it, first way to act like a rainmaker is to, do great work. And this is what I tell people all the time as far as program evaluation. We are constantly marketing by just doing evaluation, because what is evaluation? It is understanding and appreciating what an organization is trying to do, helping them think critically about who they are and how they're doing it well, and then presenting them with findings that are informative and hopefully give them either on a formative basis or an annual basis, and giving them suggestions on how to get better. And in all of that, we get a chance to show data visualization, think critically about who they are and what they're doing. And then by presenting that to them, they can use this. And if you're thinking, strategically with your clients, you're not thinking about just doing one program evaluation and then leaving. You're thinking about doing a program evaluation to help them get better at who they are and to help them continue to develop their program so they can find additional funding or expand it, or, keep you in business to continue to do the work that you're doing for them. I mean, I talk about 4 principles of my business, which are first, integrity, speaking truth to power, locality, focusing on my community. Third, clarity, which is good reporting, data visualization, and fourth is sustainability. And the sustainability piece is doing great work for my clients so that they can kind of continue to expand to the sustainability back end, is that I'm sustainable when my clients are sustainable. So I do great work so that I can continue to have a business. And that's the best networking there is. All right. Become your own chief revenue officer. I do want to say this book and a lot like them are written for not necessarily one-person shops like a lot of us. It is written, these are written for like people who work at law firms or KPMG, you know, big multinational consulting firms. And so, but the big idea on that is you want to build a practice that gives you flexibility and freedom. For a lot of the people who read these books, you're working for an organization where the projects are being given to you to do, and then you're successful at that. But ultimately, you become your own chief revenue officer, meaning you find your own clients, you build your own work. And so, if you're in that situation, you want to find a way to make yourself invaluable, that you are bringing in the work and that you're responsible for it, because then that gives you that flexibility and freedom to do the things that you want to do, because you've taken care of the fundamentals. The fundamentals meaning the revenue that it needs to keep your business afloat. Third idea, build your network. There's no question about this. We all know this. This is just part and parcel with what we're always talking about, networking and creating connections. But I guess it's important that you don't think about this as just being present on Twitter or LinkedIn. This is about really getting to know people. I mean, connecting with people on a personal, professional level. I guess in this quote from the book, it's about actually getting to know someone well enough that you can call them up and ask for a favor. The idea that you know what's going on in somebody's business, and that you could send them an article that you know is going to be relevant to them and that they may not have seen because you're creating your value to them. That's the idea. I've also talked sometimes about creating value by doing what our clients don't expect us to do, that they really need, because that's what we do. We're consultants. We anticipate their needs. We understand what they need in our specific area of program evaluation better than they do. And we anticipate their needs and we provide things to them that's going to help them be better at whatever it is that they're doing. So build your network around these ideas of being valuable to your clients. This next one's fantastic. Developing your own style. Let's see, I can't get it to go. There we go. I can tell you what you should do, and you'll hear from a lot of people, what's the best way to go out and build your business? But at the end of the day, hearing from others is great, and then using that to inform your own approach makes sense, but you need to do what feels right for you. It's important to try and be something that you are that's original. In fact, I think there's a whole article, a couple articles that were in the special edition for the New Directions for Evaluation from 2019, the one that was all about independent consulting. Rita Fierro, she wrote an article on being your authentic self, and that was all about this. And then also Stephanie Evergreen and Nina Sabari wrote an article about just your style and just connecting and how to market within your own style. But again, if you're doing things that other people told you to do and it feels like you're fish out of water, it feels awkward, stop doing it, because you're not going to enjoy it. It's going to be weird. There's not one recipe for how to make these things happen. So you can completely disagree. Hopefully you do disagree with these ways to be Rainmaker. You need to dedicate time to business development. As the quote says, it's not an event. It's not a sometimes thing. It's something that you do every day. I think about the I think about the three-legged stool of sustainability, right? And in an independent consultant practice, the three-legged stool of sustainability is, well, first, the work that you do for your clients, because that's how you get paid, because you've got a project, you're engaging in that project, you're meeting with your clients, you're providing them with what you need. The other two legs of that stool are the business operations. You're invoicing, you're managing your business, you have an office to work in, you pay your insurance, these sorts of things. But the third piece is the marketing and business development, professional development. So those are the three. If you don't have all three legs of that stool, you're going to fall over. So you need to be thinking through that. But business development is something that you need to do every day. You need to be connecting with people. Now, you don't need to be reaching out and cold calling people each day. And that kind of goes back to the last thing. What's natural for you? But being aware of when those, for me, the National Science Foundation, STEM and NOIS programs are being released, connecting with people who may be interested in those. We have the Department of Defense Education Activity, DODEA, that I'm sure Kurt knows this, that they're releasing, oh wait, Kurt, you probably don't know this. This is probably news to you. They're going to release the RFP in January. And so knowing who your clients are that have written for that in the past, or potential clients who may be thinking about it. So Kurt, I'm sure we're going to talk about this offline about that. We might be offhand too, we'll find out. Anyhow, that's part of what business development is. And this is what I did. I would reach out to other potential clients all over the country and say, hey, you should be writing for this because I've done the analysis. You haven't had a grant and they give you extra points for trying, and they really do want to fund you. So I found 2 clients just through that process of just reaching out to people, and they've been successful. And then in doing that, I was able to develop work. So that's business development. And closely related to what I was just talking about, you need to stay persistent and positive in the face of so many no's. The reality is we're doing things that are outside of our comfort zone. We're creating something new, and in doing that, you're going to be doing things that aren't you can't just go out and do what's expected, and it's just going to fall into place. There's going to be times when you're asking people for the potential to work with them, and they're just not going to be interested, and you can't get upset about it. Or, I mean, for me, the big no that I get all the time is people write these fantastic proposals to the National Science Foundation and other places, but certainly National Science Foundation, we write them all the time, and they're really, really great. And they get just, the acceptance rate is like 1 in 3. And so 2/3 of what we write oftentimes just don't get funded. And some are really, really great proposals, and I just can't justify it, particularly when you see some of your proposals get funded. These proposals get funded and they go, you're like, this is not a great proposal. How did this one get funded and the really great one didn't get funded? It's frustrating, but it does happen frequently where we're working with clients who are trying to do things and they get rejected. And so you just got to realize that that's part of the game. Or reaching out to people and saying, wouldn't you like to work together? And then they go with your another consultant, and you do better because you know that consultant, you know the quality of their work. But it is what it is. You can't take it personally. And I think here's the quote. In the book, they talk about someone who continued to reach out to a potential client and kept emailing him and kept trying to connect with them, and the person would never respond to their emails. And they finally got a meeting with him, and they said, why didn't you respond to any of my previous emails? And they said, oh, I just want to know you were serious. And I think Robert Hoke has a conversation about this too. He has clients who won't respond to the first 3 or 4 emails or something like that because I wish he was here, because they just think that you're not persistent enough, and they need somebody to know. They need to know that somebody's really serious. I don't know that I've had this problem. I think if anything, I need to stay persistent because my clients are just busy people who don't understand and appreciate what I'm trying to provide to them in the way of program evaluation or sometimes grant writing and grant development. They just are really, particularly education, right? I'm dealing with a lot of like school superintendents or assistant superintendents who are just, they've been taking care of kids in pandemic and, trying to hire teachers. And the last thing they want to think about is some strategic thing that could be a great thing in the long run. But today I just need to find someone to cover seventh hour math, you know. So just breaking through some of the noise is really hard for me. Finally, they say, whatever you do, don't call it selling. And I think this is totally true. We really aren't, I mean, while you have to generate revenue to keep our businesses afloat, the truth is and I guess you could call it technically selling, but we're solving problems. We're helping people solve problems. We're helping people identify the problems and helping them get better at what they're doing as program evaluators. And I think you could say that about a lot of the work that is consulting. You could say that about law. You could say that about accounting. We're helping people solve their problems. Yes, we demand a certain amount in cost per diem or hourly rate to do that. But at the end of the day, I really just want to partner with my clients in a way that is helpful to them. And in doing so, I make myself successful in my own practice. So those are the 7 ways to think and act like a rainmaker. I did find an article online, which I'll share with you, and it was written for lawyers. It's called 5.5 Ways to Not Act Like a Rainmaker. I thought this was interesting. I kind of converted this over for our work for evaluation. So I changed some things. I said, don't speak legalese, but first, don't speak statistics or don't get too far down into your methodology. Your clients aren't expected to know all of that. They should really understand what you're trying to do in the big picture, and you could slowly introduce some of that. But if all you're talking is p-values and your coefficient of correlation or whatever, that's probably a little bit too much. So make sure you're speaking to your clients where they're at. Only networking crowds. So this was interesting. I don't know that I've ever heard anybody say this, but the point is back to something that we heard earlier. You need to meet your clients where they're at. You need to connect with individuals. And another thought on this is the next one. Don't suck up to the executive director or the decision makers and ignore everybody else, because oftentimes it's everybody else who's in the room, or even people who aren't in the room who see how you operate with them. Like if you go into an office space and you're interacting with like maybe an administrative assistant who is just said, "I'll take a seat and you'll see so-and-so in 10 minutes. And the way that you operate in that 10 minutes while you're in the waiting room could very much be whether or not you get the opportunity to work with those people, because that administrative assistant probably serves whoever the decision maker is in that place. So understand that. Also, the other support staff you may be working with at an organization, if you treat them terribly, understand those people will likely be the leaders of that organization down the road. And so you connect with people on an original and genuine level, from the executive director down to the maintenance and everybody else. The support staff oftentimes have a lot more power than you think. Number 4 is definitely written from the perspective of a lawyer, hoarding work and doing it all yourself. But I think this actually speaks to subcontracting for us, particularly if we want to grow our relationships with others, if we have the capacity to develop relationships through working with one another, I think that that's going to be beneficial for everybody, particularly you, right? Because if I can work with Jessica Metcalf, who I know is here. I don't have a lot in common with her, but if I had some things in the area that she's working in, and I had an opportunity to work with her, then we could find ways to work with one another going down the road. If we have a great working relationship, then she'll find work and then she could bring me in. And so this is how subcontracting works. So think about how you can be strategic about connecting with other people. 5 and 5.5 are kind of the same to me. I think they may mean something different to the author of this article meant for lawyers. But staying in your lane, meaning just doing what is provided to you. So you need to reach out and try and be a little bit more broader and strategic about who you work with, and playing it safe, kind of along those same lines. If you are only reaching out to the dependable clients, you're not going to be able to grow your practice. You need to reach out, try things that are outside of your comfort zone, and with clients you may not have necessarily thought to work with before. Anyway, so that's that. And I see lots of comments here in the chat. We're going to get to those in just a bit, and we'll do those after I stop recording. I should tell you we've got a couple more. We got one more session next week this year, and then we're going to take 2 weeks off for the holidays. I don't have any idea what we're going to do next week right now. I'll probably reach out to everybody who's registered and said, hey, remember to bring some things that you've been successful at. And maybe I'll think through some structure on how to do this. But the whole idea is it's not going to be recorded. It's going to be kind of happy hour-ish. It's going to be fun. But I want us to kind of spend some time celebrating and reflecting on a year. I said, what are we going to do? I think Elizabeth Brim gave me this idea. And she says, let's just celebrate our successes for the year. And I thought, well, that's a great idea. So expect to show up, and we'll have an opportunity to talk through that and see where that conversation goes. I have no idea what it's going to be like. We'll come back, and I'll do a core topic about why to become an independent consultant. You can see some of these other ideas. I think that the thing that a lot of us are looking forward to, and I'm spending a lot of time on, is the February 3rd subcontractor fair. That's going to be a 90-minute session, kind of in the spirit of the Meet the Pros sessions. We're going to have breakout rooms where people can connect, share resumes, share job opportunities, and see where that goes, and connect. So hopefully you'll be able to make that. We'll want you to register and share materials ahead of time. If you, and this is important, if you are somebody who may be in a position to hire subcontractors, we have an application process out where we're trying to gather those people together. We'd like to have, about 10 folks if we can, and they will have their own dedicated rooms. So reach out to me and I'll make sure you get that link. Aside from that, I think I'm going to stop the share right now, and we will chat.
Matt, do you